The hospital lobby was bright, clean, and quiet. Too quiet. People walked fast, holding phones, papers, and coffee cups. Doctors passed by like the young man did not exist. He stood near the wall. A young black man. Worn shoes. Simple clothes. Tired eyes. In his hand, he held a small white paper. The paper was folded again and again. It looked old already, even though it was new. That paper meant everything to him. Upstairs, his mother was lying on a hospital bed. Weak, pale, breathing slowly. Every minute mattered. The medicine she needed was written in a foreign language. A language he could not read. The nurse told him, "You need to understand this first." He tried his phone. No signal. No help. That was when he saw him. A tall man in a dark suit stood near the center of the lobby. Expensive watch. Clean shoes. Confident smile. People greeted him with respect. Everyone knew he was rich. Very rich. The young man waited. He took a deep breath. He did not want to disturb anyone. But his mother was running out of time. Slowly, he walked toward the millionaire. His hands shook a little as he held out the paper. "Excuse me, sir," he said softly. "Can you please translate this? It's for my mother's medicine." The lobby became quieter. Some people stopped walking. Others turned their heads. The millionaire looked at him. Then he looked at the paper. For a second, he said nothing. Then he laughed. Not a small laugh. A loud laugh. The sound filled the lobby. People looked at each other. Some smiled. Some felt uncomfortable. The millionaire shook his head and laughed again. "You came all the way here for this," he said. "You think I translate papers now?" The young man did not move. He stood still. He listened. The millionaire waved the paper in the air like it was trash. "Go ask the staff," he said. "Or Google it." A few people nearby laughed softly. The young man felt his chest tighten, but he did not raise his voice. "Sir," he said again, very calm. "Already tried. Please, my mother needs this." The word mother hung in the air. Some faces changed. A nurse stopped walking. A security guard watched closely. The millionaire smirked. "Everyone needs something," he said. "That doesn't make it my problem." The young man swallowed hard. He looked down at the paper. Then he looked back up. "She raised me alone," he said quietly. "She is very sick." His voice did not shake, but his eyes did. The millionaire laughed again. "A sad story," he said, "but stories don't pay my time." The crowd grew bigger. Some people felt angry. Some felt ashamed. But no one stepped forward. The young man stayed where he was. He did not beg. He did not cry. He just held the paper tighter. "Please," he said one last time. "I only need a translation." The millionaire stopped laughing. He looked at the paper again. Something about it caught his attention. His smile slowly faded. The lobby was silent now. The millionaire turned the paper over. Then back again. His eyes narrowed. He took a step closer to the young man. "Where did you get this?" he asked. The young man answered honestly. "It came with the medicine order," he said. "They said without this my mother may not survive." The millionaire stared at him. People held their breath. For a moment, no one knew what would happen next. Then the millionaire straightened his suit. He looked around the lobby. Security moved closer. The nurse clutched her clipboard. The young man waited. His heart was beating fast, but his face was calm. The millionaire spoke slowly. "This paper," he said, "is not as simple as you think." The young man's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" he asked. The millionaire did not answer right away. Instead, he folded the paper carefully and handed it back. "Stay right here," he said. Then he turned and walked away. The crowd exploded with whispers. The young man stood frozen. He did not know if he had made a mistake. He did not know if help was coming, or trouble. Upstairs, his mother waited. And down here, everything was about to change. Because this was not just a translation anymore. It was the beginning of something no one in that lobby expected. The young man did not move. The millionaire walked away, his shoes shining under the bright hospital lights. Every step felt heavy to the young man, even though he was standing still. People began to whisper. Some shook their heads. Some looked away. Some watched like this was a show. The young man felt their eyes on him, but his mind was somewhere else. Upstairs, his mother was lying alone in a cold white room. Machines were beeping softly. Her breathing was weak. Every second felt like a warning. He closed his eyes for a moment. He remembered her hands. Rough hands. Warm hands. Those hands held him when he was a child. Those hands worked long hours so he could eat, so he could go to school. She never complained. Now she was the one waiting. A nurse walked past him and slowed down. "Sir," she said softly, "please move away from this area." He nodded. "I will," he said. "Just 1 minute." She looked at the paper in his hand, then at his face. Her eyes softened, but she said nothing. He stayed where he was. The whispers grew louder. "That man laughed at him," someone said. "He should not have come here," another voice replied. "People like that don't belong near people like us," a third voice added. The words cut deep, but the young man did not react. He had learned something early in life. Anger cost too much. Patience was cheaper. A security guard stepped closer. His face was serious. "Sir," the guard said, "are you causing a problem?" The young man shook his head. "No," he said calmly. "I'm just waiting." "For what?" the guard asked. "For help," the young man answered. The guard looked unsure. Then he stepped back, but stayed close. Time passed slowly. Too slowly. The young man's phone vibrated. A message from the hospital room upstairs. Condition unstable. His hands tightened. His heart dropped. He looked toward the elevator, wishing it would open faster, wishing he could do something. But he stayed, because leaving now would mean giving up, and he had never given up on his mother before. A woman in a long coat stopped near him. "You should not let him talk to you like that," she whispered. The young man looked at her and smiled weakly. "It's okay," he said. "He doesn't know me." The woman said nothing more. Across the lobby, the millionaire stood near a glass wall, speaking on his phone. He laughed again, but this time it was quieter. He glanced back. His eyes met the young man's eyes. The laughter stopped. For a moment, the millionaire felt uncomfortable. He did not like that look. It was not anger. It was not fear. It was strength. Silent strength. The millionaire ended his call and walked back. Slowly, every step drew attention. The crowd grew silent again. He stopped in front of the young man. "You're still here," the millionaire said. "Yes, sir," the young man replied. "Why?" the millionaire asked. "Why stand there and let people look at you like this?" The young man thought for a moment. Then he answered, "Because my pride can wait," he said. "But my mother cannot." The words hit harder than any shout. The lobby froze. The millionaire blinked. No one laughed this time. "You don't feel embarrassed?" the millionaire asked. The young man shook his head. "I feel scared," he said, "but not embarrassed." The millionaire studied him. "You could have left," he said. "You could have shouted. You could have caused trouble." "Yes," the young man replied, "but then I would lose time." The millionaire looked away. Something inside him shifted. He remembered a voice from long ago. A woman's voice. Tired. Kind. For a second, his face changed. Then he covered it quickly. "You think this paper can save her?" he asked. "I know it can," the young man said, "if someone helps me understand it." The millionaire took a deep breath. Around them, people waited. Some prayed. Some hoped. Some doubted. The millionaire held out his hand. "Give it to me again," he said. The young man hesitated. Not from fear. From hope. Slowly, he placed the paper into the millionaire's hand. The millionaire looked at it closely this time. His face went serious. Very serious. "This," he said quietly, "is not a normal prescription." The young man's heart stopped. "What do you mean?" he asked. The millionaire did not answer. Instead, he turned to the security guard. "Clear this area," he said. The guard nodded. The crowd stepped back. The nurse looked confused. The young man felt the air change. Something was happening. Something big. The millionaire folded the paper and slipped it into his jacket. "Stay here," he said again. "And don't move." Then he walked toward a private hallway. The young man stood alone, surrounded by silence. Upstairs, a machine beeped faster. And somewhere deep inside the millionaire's mind, a door from the past had just opened. The young man stood alone in the middle of the lobby. The crowd had moved back, but their eyes stayed on him. No one spoke. No one moved. The silence felt heavy, like the air before a storm. He looked at the elevator doors. Still closed. Upstairs, his mother waited. He pressed his lips together and breathed slowly. If he lost control now, everything would fall apart. Minutes passed. Then footsteps echoed from the private hallway. The millionaire returned. His face was different now. No smile. No laughter. His eyes looked sharp, serious, almost troubled. He stopped a few steps away from the young man. Everyone watched. The millionaire did not raise his voice. Instead, he asked a question no one expected. "Why didn't you walk away?" The young man blinked. "I'm sorry," he said. "You heard me," the millionaire replied. "Why didn't you leave when I laughed at you?" The young man looked around. People leaned closer. Even the security guard seemed curious. The young man thought for a moment. Then he answered, "Because walking away would not help my mother." The millionaire nodded slowly. "But you were humiliated," he said. "People laughed. They judged you." "Yes," the young man said. "They always do." The millionaire frowned. "Then why stay?" The young man lifted his eyes. "Because my mother taught me something," he said. "She said pain does not last, but regret does." The words landed hard. A woman in the crowd covered her mouth. The millionaire shifted his weight. He did not expect that answer. Most men would have shouted, the millionaire said, or blamed the world. The young man shook his head. "Shouting doesn't change medicine," he replied, "and blaming doesn't heal anyone." The lobby was silent. The millionaire looked down at the floor for a moment. Then he asked another strange question. "Do you know who I am?" The young man nodded. "Yes," he said. "You are important." "That's not what I asked," the millionaire said. The young man met his eyes. "You are someone with power," he said. "And power can help or hurt." The millionaire inhaled deeply. No one had spoken to him like that in years. "Do you trust me?" the millionaire asked suddenly. The question shocked everyone. The young man hesitated. Trust was dangerous. But time was running out. "I don't trust your money," he said carefully. "But I trust your choice." The millionaire stared at him. Then he smiled. Not a mocking smile. A real one. "You speak like someone much older," he said. "I had to grow up early," the young man replied. The millionaire's eyes softened. He reached into his jacket and pulled out the folded paper. "This medicine," he said, holding it up, "is part of a special trial." The crowd murmured. "It is rare," the millionaire continued. "Not easy to approve. And very expensive." The young man's heart sank. But the millionaire added, "It can save lives." The young man swallowed. "Then please," he said, "help me understand it." The millionaire studied him. "I will," he said. "But first, I need to know something." The young man nodded. "Ask," he said. The millionaire stepped closer. His voice dropped. "If the medicine fails," he asked, "what will you do?" The young man's eyes glistened. "I will still sit by her bed," he said, "and hold her hand." The millionaire froze. The word struck something deep. A memory flashed in his mind. A small room. A tired woman. A boy holding her hand, too scared to cry. The millionaire turned away quickly. "Enough," he said. He looked at the nurse. "Take me to the patient," he ordered. The nurse hesitated. "Sir, only family." "I am family now," the millionaire said firmly. The crowd gasped. The young man looked confused. "What do you mean?" he asked. The millionaire turned back. "My mother once needed medicine I could not afford," he said. "No one helped us." Silence swallowed the lobby. "She died waiting," he added. The young man's chest tightened. "I laughed earlier," the millionaire continued, "because I thought I had buried that memory." His voice cracked. "But you reminded me." The millionaire placed the paper back into the young man's hands. "This time," he said, "I will not walk away." The elevator doors opened. A soft chime echoed. The nurse gestured for them to enter. The young man stepped forward. Hope and fear fought inside him. As the doors closed, the millionaire looked at him and said quietly, "Sometimes the strangest questions lead to the right people." The elevator began to rise. And the real story was just beginning. The elevator moved upward in silence. The young man stood on one side. The millionaire stood on the other. Between them was only air and heavy thoughts. The nurse pressed the floor button and looked straight ahead. She did not speak. The sound of the elevator felt too loud. The young man stared at the numbers climbing. Each number felt like a heartbeat. "Please hold on, Mom." The doors finally opened. They stepped into a quiet hospital hallway. The lights were dimmer here. The air smelled like medicine and fear. The nurse stopped in front of a room. "She's inside," she said, "but her condition is getting worse." The young man's breath caught. The millionaire looked at the door, then at the paper in his hand. "Give me 1 minute," he said. "1 minute," the young man repeated. "My mother doesn't have 1 minute." The millionaire nodded slowly. I know, he said. That's why this matters. He opened the paper again and read every line carefully. His face grew serious. Very serious. This medicine, he said, was not supposed to reach this hospital. The young man frowned. What do you mean? He asked. The millionaire lowered his voice. This paper is not just instructions, he said. It is a warning. The nurse stiffened. A warning for who? The young man asked. For the hospital, the millionaire replied. And for the company that made the medicine. The young man did not understand. All I know, he said, is that my mother needs it. And she will get it, the millionaire said. But first, you need to know the truth. He folded the paper and put it away. This medicine is part of a private program, he explained. It is meant for patients they don't expect to survive. The words hit hard. The young man felt dizzy. What are you saying? He whispered. They test it, the millionaire continued. But they don't fight for approval. They don't rush. They wait. Wait for what? The young man asked. For silence, the millionaire said. For patients who don't have voices. For families who can't ask questions. The young man clenched his fists. So, my mother is just an experiment? He said. No, the millionaire replied firmly. She's a person. The nurse looked shocked. I didn't know this, she said quietly. Most people don't, the millionaire answered. He looked at the door again. This is why the paper scared me, he said. I've seen it before. The young man stared at him. Where? He asked. The millionaire hesitated. In my past, he said. In a room just like this. Silence filled the hallway. The young man felt anger rising. Not loud anger. Cold anger. They laughed at me downstairs, he said. Because I asked for help. The millionaire nodded. And they laughed at my mother too, he said. Because she was poor. The young man looked at him with new eyes. You said no one helped her, he said. Yes, the millionaire replied. And that is why I am here now. The nurse cleared her throat. Sir, she said, we need approval soon or... You'll have it, the millionaire interrupted. Not their approval. Mine. He pulled out his phone and stepped aside. The young man watched as the millionaire made one call. Then another. His voice was calm but firm. I want the full file, he said. Now. He listened. No, he said sharply. Don't explain. Fix it. He ended the call. The hallway felt smaller. What are you doing? The young man asked. Opening doors, the millionaire replied. The nurse's eyes widened. That medicine, she said slowly, it requires special clearance. It does, the millionaire agreed. And I own the company that gives it. The young man froze. You own it? He asked. The millionaire nodded. Not the whole company, he said, but enough to change things. The young man's heart raced. Then you knew, he said. You knew what that paper meant. Yes, the millionaire replied. And that is why I laughed. The words stung. Because I thought fate was joking. The millionaire continued. I never expected to see that paper again. The young man said nothing. His mother coughed inside the room. The sound broke him. Please, he said softly. Whatever this is, just help her. The millionaire walked to the door. He placed his hand on it. I will, he said. But what happens next will shock everyone. The nurse unlocked the door. Before entering, the millionaire turned back and said, Some truths stay hidden because people are afraid to look. Then he stepped inside, and a young man followed, not knowing that this truth would change both their lives forever. The hospital room felt small. Machines beeped softly. Tubes and wires surrounded the bed. The young man's mother lay still, her chest rising slowly, like she was fighting for every breath. The young man rushed to her side. Mom, he whispered. I'm here. Her eyes opened just a little. She tried to smile. The millionaire stood near the door. He did not step closer right away. He watched the woman on the bed. Her face was thin. Her skin was pale. But there was peace in her eyes. He had seen those eyes before. Long ago. The nurse checked the machines and shook her head. Her condition is critical, she said. If we don't start the medicine soon. She did not finish the sentence. The young man turned to the millionaire. Please, he said again. Do what you said. The millionaire nodded. He reached into his jacket and pulled out his phone. But instead of calling quietly, he turned toward the nurse. Bring the head doctor, he said. Now. The nurse hesitated. Sir, hospital rules. I will take responsibility, the millionaire interrupted. All of it. The nurse rushed out. The young man looked confused. "What are you doing?" he asked. The millionaire stepped closer to the bed. "I am ending something," he said. "Something that should have ended years ago." He looked at the mother. "She reminds me of someone," he said quietly. The young man held his mother's hand. "She raised me alone," he said. "She never asked anyone for help." The millionaire closed his eyes. "My mother was the same," he said. The room fell silent. Footsteps rushed in. The head doctor entered with two other doctors. "Yes, sir?" the head doctor asked. The millionaire spoke clearly. "We start the treatment now," he said. "No dilas." No waiting. The head doctor frowned. "Sir, this medication requires board approval." The millionaire looked him in the eyes. "I am aboard," he said. The room froze. The doctors exchanged looks. The young man's heart pounded. "What?" he whispered. The millionaire turned slightly. "I'm a major investor," he said. "And today I use that power." The head doctor hesitated. "If something goes wrong, it will be on me," the millionaire replied. "Not on them." The doctor nodded slowly. "Prepare the medicine," he said to the nurse. The nurse hurried away. The young man's knees felt weak. He held the bed to steady himself. "Why are you doing this?" he asked. The millionaire did not answer right away. He watched the doctors prepare. Then he said, "Because once someone asked me for help." The young man listened. "I laughed at her," the millionaire continued. "I was young, angry, poor." The room grew still. "She needed medicine," he said, "and I had just enough money for myself." The young man's chest tightened. "I chose myself," the millionaire said. "She died 2 weeks later." Silence crashed into the room. The young man felt tears burn his eyes. "I built my life on never feeling weak again," the millionaire said. "But today you brought that weakness back." The nurse returned with the medicine. Clear liquid. Small vial. Powerful. The doctors moved quickly. The young man squeezed his mother's hand. "Please," he whispered, "stay with me." The millionaire stepped forward. Before anyone could stop him, he did something shocking. He knelt, right there on the hospital floor. Doctors gasped. The nurse froze. The young man stared in disbelief. The millionaire bowed his head. "I am sorry," he said softly. Not to the room, to the woman on the bed. "I failed someone like you," he said. "And I laughed to hide it." Tears rolled down his face. "I will not fail again." The room was silent except for the machines. The medicine was injected. Slowly, carefully. Everyone watched the monitor. Seconds passed. Then minutes. The line on the screen changed. The nurse's eyes widened. "Her heart rate is stabilizing," she said. The young man held his breath. Another beep. Another change. "She's responding," the doctor said. The young man broke down. He covered his face and cried. The millionaire stood up slowly. His eyes were red. "This is not over," he said. "This is just the beginning." The young man looked at him. "What do you mean?" he asked. The millionaire met his eyes. "What I allowed to happen," he said, "will be exposed." The monitor beeped steady. The mother's breathing eased. And outside that room, a storm was coming for everyone who ever laughed at the powerless. The machines no longer sounded angry. Their beeping was slow and steady now, like a calm heartbeat finding its way home. The young man stood beside the bed, still holding his mother's hand. Her fingers were warm again, not strong yet but alive. He had not let go, not once. The doctor stepped back. "She is stable," one of them said. "The medicine is working." The young man closed his eyes. For the first time in many hours, he breathed without fear. Across the room, the millionaire stood quietly. No phone, no guards, just a man in a suit, standing with his hands folded like he was in church. He did not rush out. He stayed. The nurse checked the 4-line and smiled softly. "She's a fighter," she said. "Yes," the young man replied. "She always has been." The millionaire took one slow step closer to the bed. He did not speak right away. He looked at the woman's face. "Calm now. Resting. She reminds me of my mother," he said quietly. "The way she holds peace, even in pain." The young man nodded. "She used to tell me," he said, "that kindness is the last thing a person owns." The millionaire lowered his head. "That's something I forgot," he said. The nurse cleared her throat. "Visiting hours." "She can stay," the millionaire interrupted gently. And so can he. The nurse hesitated. Then she nodded. Yes, sir, she said. The word sir sounded different now. Not powerful. Respectful. The young man noticed it. Everyone noticed it. The head doctor returned. We need to discuss next steps, he said. The millionaire nodded. Outside, he said. They should rest. In the hallway, doctors and staff gathered. Some looked nervous. Others looked confused. The millionaire faced them. What happened today, he said calmly, will not stay hidden. The staff exchanged glances. This program, he continued, was designed to protect profits, not people. A few head dropped. That ends today, he said. One doctor spoke up. Sir, this will cost the company millions. The millionaire did not blink. Then it will cost millions, he said. Lives are more expensive. Silence filled the hallway. I want every patient reviewed, he added, especially the ones without voices. He turned to the young man. And I want you there, he said. The young man was surprised. Me, he asked. Yes, the millionaire replied. You see what others ignore. The young man did not answer. He was still learning how to stand in this moment. Back inside the room, his mother stirred. Her eyes opened slowly. He leaned close. Mom, he whispered. I'm here. She looked at him. Then, at the millionaire. Her voice was weak, but clear. Did you eat? She asked. The young man smiled through tears. Not yet, he said. She frowned gently. You always forget yourself, she said. The millionaire felt his throat tighten. She noticed him. Who is this? She asked. The young man hesitated. A friend, he said. The millionaire nodded. Yes, he said softly. A friend. She smiled faintly. Thank you, she said. The words were simple, but they shook him. No one had thanked him like that in years. Not for real. I didn't do enough before, he said quietly. But I will now. She closed her eyes again. The young man squeezed her hand. Outside the room, news began to spread. Nurses whispered. Doctors talked. Security watched with new eyes. The man who laughed in the lobby was not the same man standing here. Later, in the lobby, the young man walked beside the millionaire. People moved out of the way, not because of money, because of respect. A woman from earlier approached the young man. I'm sorry, she said, for not speaking up. He smiled gently. It's okay, he said. You saw. That matters. The millionaire stopped walking. He turned to the crowd. I want something understood, he said. Help is not weakness. The lobby went silent. And asking for help, he added, is not shame. The young man stood beside him. No longer small. No longer ignored. Just human. The millionaire looked at him and said, Tomorrow, we change the system. The young man nodded. And today, he replied, you change a life. The millionaire shook his head. No, he said. Today, someone reminded me how to be human. Upstairs, a woman slept peacefully. And downstairs, respect was finally given where it always belonged. Morning light entered the hospital room softly. The night had passed. The machines were quiet now. Not silent, but peaceful. Like they no longer needed to shout. The young man sat beside his mother's bed. He had not slept. He did not need to. Seeing her breathe was enough. A nurse entered with a gentle smile. She's improving, she said. You did good. The young man shook his head. She did, he replied. Down the hallway, footsteps approached. The millionaire entered the room, not in a sharp suit this time, but in a simple jacket. No tia. No phone in his hand. He looked lighter. How is she? He asked. Stronger, the young man said. Still fighting. The millionaire nodded. That's the best kind, he said. The mother slowly opened her eyes again. She looked at the two men standing side by side. Are you still here? She asked the millionaire. Yes, he replied. I stayed. She smiled. That means something, she said. The millionaire swallowed. Outside the room, people were waiting. Doctors, nurses, staff, and others, patients, families, strangers who had watched everything from the lobby. They wanted answers. The millionaire stepped into the hallway. The young man followed. The hallway was full. The millionaire raised his hand gently. I won't take much time, he said, but I need to say something. Silence spread. I stood in this hospital yesterday, he continued, and I laughed at a man asking for help. Heads lowered. I laughed because I thought power protected me from pain, he said. But power does not protect you. The crowd listened closely. It only hides what you refuse to face. He turned and looked at the young man. This man did not shout, he said. He did not fight. He stood, the millionaire said, because love taught him to. The young man felt his chest tighten. The millionaire continued. We talk about success, he said, but success without compassion is empty. People nodded. From today, the millionaire said, this hospital changes. A doctor stepped forward. What does that mean, sir? It means, the millionaire replied, no patient is treated as invisible. Applause began, slow at first, then louder. The millionaire raised his hand again. There's more, he said. The room grew quiet. I'm stepping down from my position in the company, he said. Gasps filled the hallway. I will fund an independent board, he continued, made of doctors, nurses, and patients' families. The young man looked at him in shock. Why, someone asked. Because systems don't change, the millionaire said. People do. He turned to the young man. And because leadership should listen before it speaks. The millionaire placed his hand over his heart. I failed once, he said. I will not fail again. Later that day, the young man walked outside the hospital. The sun was warm. He breathed deeply. The millionaire stood beside him. I want to offer you something, he said. The young man listened. A job, the millionaire said. But not for money. The young man raised an eyebrow. Then for what? He asked. For truth, the millionaire replied. For voice. The young man thought. I already have a job, he said. Taking care of my mother. The millionaire smiled. Then we'll build around that, he said. They shook hands. Not as rich and poor. As equals. Weeks later, the story spread. Not because of money, but because of a moment. A moment when a man asked for help and stayed kind. A moment when laughter turned into apology. A moment when respect returned. The young man's mother recovered slowly. She sat by a window, watching life move again. One afternoon, she said, people think strength is loud. The young man nodded. But real strength, she continued, waits quietly. The young man smiled. Across the city, policies changed. Names were added. Doors opened. But the real lesson stayed simple. Never laugh at someone asking for help. You may be standing in front of your own lesson. And sometimes, the smallest request is the one that changes everything.